Thanks for inviting us in. It's 11 o'clock and we want to begin tonight with a family finally getting answers more than a year after their 19-year-old was shot and killed on the southeast side of Indianapolis. Another 19-year-old tonight is charged with that crime. Our Logan Gay talked with the victim's parents tonight about this long wait for answers now starting to finally pay off. So Logan, what'd they tell you?
Well, Scott, they told me his parents are calling this an answered prayer. This call from detective is something that they've been waiting for so long.
When he was born,
Julius Parker Jr. might not be physically here, but his presence can be felt everywhere in his home. And since the day he was found inside a parked car on Spring Wind Lane nearly 15 months ago, his parents, worrying the case could go cold, have been praying for one thing: answers.
when I hear other people, oh, there's a suspect, there's an arrest, I say, God, when is it going to be my time? Let it be today.
That day finally came with a phone call from a detective who said the words they've been waiting to hear. Court records show a warrant for 19-year-old Samuel Francher Jr. was issued. He's being charged with murder and robbery for Julius's death. His parents calling the moment bittersweet.
We were shocked because this is something that we have been praying for and hoping for since this incident last year. We were happy that at least there is a name attached to the murder of our son, but also knowing that he's not going to come back.
According to court documents, the shooter got in the back seat of the car to buy some marijuana from Julius. When it was time to pay, the suspect claimed there was an issue with the Cash App transfer and then tried to grab the bag of marijuana, leading to a struggle and Julius ultimately being shot. His mother, Sony, says this information was hard for her to read because she had no idea.
That is shocking to me, and it just broke me because we never raised him like that. His dad is a hard worker. We worked so hard, and Julius was well loved. He had everything.
Julius Jr. was a talented athlete, a member of their local church, a Franklin Central High School graduate, and a freshman at Ball State University. His goal was to be a psychiatrist, and his parents say that's what they're going to focus on.
It doesn't matter what happened. I'm going to fight for him. That's my son, the way that I raised him.
Nobody has the right to take away another person's life, over something that could be resolved.
Getting to this moment has been an uphill battle for the Parker family, and even though they finally have some answers, they know the fight is not over.
I don't wish death on him, but I want him to pay for what he did.
Because what they lost can never be replaced.
If he had been given the opportunity to live his full potential, he would have made a great impact in life.
So at the end of the interview, I asked the Parkers about their thoughts on seeing this person in court, and they told me they don't care how long it takes. When they get their day in court, they plan to be at every hearing until the final verdict.
Logan, thanks so much. Tonight at 11, we're taking a closer look at the issue before the Indiana Court of Appeals about a lawsuit and the shooting at the Greenwood Park Mall. So this shooting took place back in July of 2022. A gunman killed 3 people inside the mall. Now in a lawsuit, a family claims Simon Property Group was negligent. The family says 22-year-old Kaya Stewart was shot several times, saying the shooter also targeted her younger sister but missed. The lawsuit alleges Simon and its security company should have known the risk of active shooters and had better security. Simon filed a motion to dismiss that lawsuit, saying shootings are not foreseeable.
I think if an assault rifle comes into a mall, that's an immediate basis to say, okay, we've got something to, at the very least, to call the police.
Indiana is an open carry state when it comes to firearms. So tweak the facts just a little bit. If somebody comes onto the property with firearms in full view, at that point, they have not broken the law.
The court did not make a decision today. A spokesperson told us we can't expect an opinion in the next couple of months.
Temperatures right now in the 50s and 60s. It was warm this afternoon and still mild at this hour. We're at 61 in Muncie, 66 in Shelbyville, down to 58 Bloomington and Terre Haute right now. Mid 50s to start. Nothing weather-wise to slow you down out the door for your Thursday. Be prepared. It's going to be a warm one. Highs tomorrow afternoon in the low 80s. We do track rain chances really ramping up for our Friday. I'll have the local timeline in a few minutes.
It's seen a little bit, Angela. Thanks. A new VA hospital could be coming here to downtown Indianapolis. A $2 billion investment meant to modernize care for Hoosier veterans. Alex Almanza talked with Senator Jim Banks today after a tour of the current Roudebush VA Medical Center as he outlined his vision for what comes next.
Scott, Senator Banks says the current facility has outgrown its footprint and that a replacement is not just in the works, but ahead of schedule. This comes as questions surround the Trump administration's plans to cut thousands of jobs from the VA. Senator Jim Banks visited Roudebush Tuesday, touring the aging facility and meeting with senior leadership. He says a $2 billion replacement hospital is in progress, with a feasibility study already moving faster than expected.
This hospital is old. Many of much of the facility is outdated, and we're serving a lot of veterans here, so we have to replace it. We have to build something new.
The news comes as the Department of Veterans Affairs braces for potential cuts. Up to 80,000 jobs nationwide could be on the chopping block. Banks insists local care won't be affected, claiming 20 early retirements are because of what has been offered to employees.
Our employees at Roudebush love working here, so we don't expect a lot more early retirements, and they're able to absorb that.
But that message clashes with one from Congressman Andre Carson, who in March accused the Trump administration of terminating funding for the same study Banks now says is full steam ahead. He also raised alarm over the sale of other federal buildings that house VA offices, calling it, quote, chaos that hurts veterans and seniors. Banks, meanwhile, praised the Trump administration for cutting, quote, wokeness and DEI programs in the VA. Banks said that he didn't see any of what he calls, quote, wasteful bureaucracy during his tour of Roudebush.
Every penny that we can save from wasteful spending in the VA that can otherwise go to take care of our veterans is that's the mission that we have in this administration that I'm focused on.
For now, Senator Banks says the project is still in the planning phase, with no set timeline for when shovels might hit the ground. In the newsroom, Alex Almanza, 13 News.
Millions of dollars are now going to help Central Indiana veterans wipe out their medical debt, all thanks to a partnership between Verizon, Team Penske, and the Indianapolis Colts. Verizon and Team Penske are providing $4 million. Verizon officials say the company has already committed $1 million this year, and they're offering another $1 million if Will Power finishes in the top 10 at the 500 this year. Then over the next 2 seasons, Verizon and the Colts are offering an additional $2 million. And now to a push to bring new recruits to Indianapolis's police force. All of this comes as IMPD faces a significant staffing shortage. The police department currently has 1,441 officers. IMPD is budgeted for 1,743. So that's a shortage of more than 300 officers. Tonight, the department is hosting a recruiting event at the Northwest District. So this gives Hoosiers interested in the law enforcement job a chance to meet with the very officers who patrol our streets every day, getting insights into the reality of police work.
This is one of the things that we do to make sure that we are kind of getting out to the community. So these open houses, visiting other recruiting events, hosting our own events, being where we can be within the community. I think that's a great opportunity for people to, one, have that interaction with us, whether they want to be officers or not.
That new contract ratified last year gave IMPD officers a 24% average raise and boosted the starting salary for an officer to about $72,000. We've got a full list of the qualifications right now. You can go get it on WTHR.com. Major changes proposed tonight to Indiana's tobacco tax, all part of an effort by state lawmakers to make up a more than $2 billion shortfall in expected revenue for the budget. Governor Mike Braun and Republican leadership just announced a final budget plan that involves cuts to higher education and public health. It also calls for raising the tax on cigarettes and tobacco products. GOP leaders said today this budget funds priorities while staying within the state's means. Democrats say they still need to digest this proposal, saying they were not consulted on it. Well, protesters gathered outside Senator Todd Young's office here in Indianapolis. Members of Indivisible Central Indiana held signs with messages for the Indiana Republican. They addressed what they say are Senator Young's actions and inactions in Washington on issues ranging from health care to jobs.
We have about 100 people from the state of Indiana who are very concerned about the state of the government in Washington and Senator Todd Young's lack of opposition to some of the terrible things that are going on that are hurting people in the state of Indiana.
We reached out to the senator's office about that demonstration today. A spokesman declined to comment.